If I told you that you could score a 149 on the LSAT, have a 3.3 GPA, and come out of law school, well, a non-top 100 law school, and make it to a top 10 firm making six figures, and pass the bar on the first time, would you believe me? Along your journey, you'll hear people tell you what you can't do, shouldn't do, or maybe even what they view as impossible. You can't get into law school with a 140, a 145. You can't graduate in the top 20%, 10%, or maybe even it's impossible to make it into big law, or that you won't pass the bar on the first attempt because you went to this school. A mentor, though, they'll encourage you, push you towards your goals while telling you what's possible and how to do it. But the law school mentor, I'm here to show you how and to erase the thought that you can't.
I swear.
Did you solemnly swear?
I will support the Constitution.
So you're probably wondering how I got here. Well, let's sit down and talk about it. Ask me anything. Check this real quick. Should look good. All right. All right, so what do you want to know?
So who's the law school mentor?
Well, I guess you guys know me as the law school mentor. But my name's Yoshi, from Chicago. Well, I guess I can't really claim Chicago, and my Chicago people are gonna know why. I'm actually from the south suburbs. Born in Richmond Park, moved to Frankfurt, played baseball all my life. Let's see what else. Went to the University of Missouri as a sports journalism broadcast major, and really decided to go to law school after the things I've experienced through my life to make a bigger impact.
And what makes your story so unique?
You know, honestly, I don't think I'm really more unique than the average person. Like, I feel like I'm just like you guys. I think the difference is I decided to believe in myself. And the best way I can put this to you is, if I told you that you could score a 149 on the LSAT, have a 3.3 GPA, and come out of law school, well, a non-top 100 law school, and make it to a top 10 firm making six figures, and pass the bar on the first time, would you believe me?
So take us from the beginning. What made you want to go to law school?
So do this. Well, I guess it starts with my undergrad experience, right? Going to University of Missouri, you guys can probably imagine Missouri. Some call it the South. And fall 2017 was a big moment at the University of Missouri. It made national news. A lot of racial tension happened. And it was at that point where, as a journalist, I felt like telling the story wasn't enough. And I knew that, you know, your influence is what you make of it. So I knew I always wanted to go back to school. I just didn't know for what. And all the racial tension that happened made national news. I was right in the middle of it, telling the story, literally telling the story, being asked by my producers to go on campus, and when KKK were there, to go and get stories, and that was crazy to me. So instead of just being on that side of telling the story, I wanted to impact it. And when talking to a bunch of lawyers, asking a bunch of questions, I realized that there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of power, a lot of influence that comes with the Juris Doctorate degree. So I went head in and asked all the people I knew with having no lawyers in my family, which I'm sure a lot of you don't have any lawyers in your family. Well, I made the decision to go to law school after doing my research, working at a law firm for 10 months, and figuring out that the Juris Doctor degree was so flexible that whether I practiced law or not, I could make that impact that I was looking for.
What was your journey to being admitted?
So my journey to being admitted probably starts with learning from what not to do. I think everyone always asks me, what would you do differently? And through all the success I had in law school, there's a lot of things I didn't do leading up to that I think you guys can learn from. And it starts with being organized, right? Leading up to law school, my journey entailed, I think, a lot of rushedness. I started my journey taking the LSAT in September, 1 year before going in, really not convinced if I wanted to take it. I was still working at the time, and I self-studied. I asked my friends who are going into law school, like, hey, can I use y'all books? And they gave me used books, the Power Score books, if you're wondering. And I always thought school came pretty easy, so I'm like, I'm just gonna take this test. Pretty sure I didn't do that. I mean, I got a 149, I believe. I scored 149 twice, if I'm not mistaken. Full transparency, right? If there's anything you know about me, I don't mind telling you everything. I got 149, and I'm like, okay, well, what can I do with this? So I realized it wasn't as great as I probably could have gotten. Coming from, great grades in high school, I guess okay grades in undergrad. Thoughts on that later, I guess. But I decided to go into law school with a very rushed application. I took the LSAT again in February, scored again after my grandmother passed away. So I felt like my head was just all over the place, and I didn't even decide to get my applications together until April. I'm talking about like the weekend the apps were due. And I applied to 4 schools in Chicago, and out of those 4 schools, I got waitlisted on 2 of them. And the only school that let me in, John Marshall Law School. So, if there's anything you can take from this, apply early and get organized. But John Marshall gave me my shot, and I didn't look back.
So John Marshall, right? Tell me about it.
Last 3 years of my life, right? But you know what? Instead of telling you about it, like, why not show you? Alright, so here we are, UIC John Marshall Law School, where literally my 3 years, my home for 3 years. And it's right here, in the heart of Chicago. Doesn't get any better than this, top 3 city. But why don't we get into exactly what I did while I was here?
So why John Marshall Law School?
Well, that's an important question, right? Why any school? I think location is probably the number one. When you graduate law school, inevitably when you graduate, you're going to transfer into practice. So the city where you practice is important. When you're not studying, you're going to be networking. You're going to be building relationships. So Chicago is important for me because that's where my family is. It's a top city, all the opportunities available. I mean, we're even right across the street, you see the federal courthouse. So what kind of opportunities available? I argued in this courthouse while in law school, which is a very unique opportunity. So location is huge. Aside from that, when you're making your decision, you want to know where you're going to feel comfortable for 3 years. And for me, I knew that John Marshall was huge because they provided me the only opportunity, right? My only school out of the 4 schools that I chose to apply to, they gave me the only opportunity. And then aside from that, scholarship. Scholarship's huge. They gave me a scholarship, and I capitalized on that opportunity with this top 10 writing program, the clinics that they have, which give you the practical experience. But outside of that, just make the informed decision that it's going to be best for you. And that's going to come from asking as many questions from the students that go there, the teachers, and just be open enough to know about yourself and how you can be successful.
What all did you do while you were at John Marshall Law School?
I think the better question is what didn't I do? I set out at John Marshall Law School with one thing in mind. It's what did I want to leave and what did I want to start as a lawyer, my brand. So I really did everything from president of the school, honors programs, moot court, law review, exec boards, both in BOLSA, Black Law Student Association, Entertainment Sports Law Society. I was involved outside of the school in Entertainment Sports Law, Black Entertainment Sports Law, VISLA, which we'll get into in other videos. But it's about your legacy, right? And I think I wanted to leave this school without ever thinking I could have done more. And when you start your career, it starts now. When you start studying for the LSAT, when you set foot on a campus. But when you go to school, make sure that you have no regrets.
So do you have to do all of that just to be successful?
We're back. And I would say no, not at all. It really depends on who you are. And as I mentioned in the last question, it's about a legacy, and that's really how I approach law school. What you do in law school is your legacy, and I think the most important thing is you give your all every single day so that you can look back and say, you know, I gave everything I had and there's not one single thing I regret. Law school is about a formula, and once you learn that formula, you apply it to every little part, the grades, the networking, the interviews, and you got a recipe for success.
What do you want the people watching to know?
A lot. I think it first starts off with, I'm no different than you. It may seem that way, and it may be scary to talk to an attorney, but literally 4 years ago, I was in your shoes. And so realizing that success is a mindset first and foremost, before any of these accolades, before my job, before passing the bar, I had the confidence, I think, that it takes to be successful. And along this journey, I'm here to be an open book for you. I'm here to dismantle all of the stereotypes and just to show you and put you on game, right? Because as I mentioned, there's a formula to this. The more you sit down and get over the fear of asking people what you don't know, that's when you start to tap into the gems, right? And without asking, that's what I'm here for, right? Is to give you my experience, but not just give it to you, I want to show you. So I'm here to make you believe in your dream. I don't want you to do what I did. I'm here for you to learn from that, take pieces of that. But every part of my journey came from someone else's. And so success is defined by your standards. And at the end of the day, I'm here to enhance those standards so that you can see the potential that maybe you never saw possible. I'm truly an open book. I really, utterly believe that there is room for all of us at the table. And the community that I want to build around the law school mentor is hustle, the confidence and the work ethic, and really just the mentality you bring, the Mamba mentality I get from Kobe. All of those things wrapped into one. If you apply that to your daily life in law school, I feel like what you can accomplish as a lawyer is unmatched. So come along with this journey. I'm excited. I'm excited to welcome you with open arms. But I'm here for you more than anything.
So with all of that being said, what's next?
Guess you'll have to stay tuned. Mamba out.